Rage Whale, making waves over movies.
Hi guys, and welcome to Rage Whale with Kev, that's me, and my partner in crime Drew, and James has got to go and bathe his child and put him to sleep. So he's in Spain at the moment, somewhere I couldn't pronounce, so he's off there getting sunburnt, and he really is sunburnt, isn't he?
Yeah, Costa del Sol.
Yeah, badly. So we've just finished talking to James. He's got other things going on for the bit, but he'll join us on the next episode for sure to enlighten us or offend us, one or the other. So the first film I was going to mention today is that I saw a few days ago in the cinema. It's a film called The Zone of Interest. Have you seen that? Have you heard of it?
It looked interesting.
Yeah, I mean, this one, I said it on my Instagram thing as well. Like, I don't know what the cinema's doing at the moment because every film I've watched in the past couple of weeks has devastated me and made me feel really upset. I need to see a comedy because I've seen some serious films recently. You know,
I've
like
got
we
an
talked about
area.
before. Yeah, I don't want to bring it up again or talk about it again because we've gone over it. But Oliver Strangers was upsetting.
To soothe your soul from all of the trauma you've been through from cinema and films. So
you're pixelated again, mate. Which one?
No, well, I was going to get to it after you told me about your one, but it's called.
Okay, I'll tell you what I was going to say, and then I'll bring up the film, and then you can tell me some funny shit then, because that's what we need. Because I think the last few things I've seen in the cinema have been The End We Start From with Jodie Comer. That was stressful. The Holdovers, which was one of the best films I've seen in a long time, that was a little upsetting. Oliver Strangers was an emotional roller coaster. The Iron Claw devastated me. That's the worst I've felt in the cinema ever. I was embarrassed to be in public because it was trying to keep it together was tough. And then The Zone of Interest. So this film it's a strange one. It's very artistic. It's not a normal film. It's not a standard plot. It's basically about Nazis, and I think it's 1943. It's meant to be, and it's when the concentration camps are in its final stage. They're working. They're doing the job they're meant to do. They're killing millions of people, and this is about the Auschwitz commander Rudolf Hoss. Him and his wife Hedwig strive to build this home for their family, and it's a beautiful house for that era. Beautiful garden. She grows all these beautiful plants, fruits and vegetables. It's lovely. They've got a nice relaxing space, but in the background is literally Auschwitz. Like the walls of their garden are about 12-foot concrete walls, and they're growing plants up to hide them, but the concentration camp's like another 20 foot above it. You can just see the whole camp, every shot of the garden. It's there. It's a very quiet film. There's not much talking. It's just people milling about. It feels like it's documentary almost. And as it's quiet, you just hear people getting shot. And then there's a scene where he's locking up his house at night. He pops outside in the garden for a cigar, and the camera's at a different angle, and you can see a chimney in the background and just fire and smoke billowing because they're burning, Jewish people. And it's pretty horrible to watch. Like, they don't talk about it. It's never mentioned really. It's just in the background. The only scene it's mentioned is when Rudolf Hoss goes and meets other commanders from Auschwitz, and they've brought in these inventors to speed up the process so they're trying to ramp up the final solution, is obviously the Nazis called it, where they make these war camps quicker and more efficient, that you can constantly pile people in and you'd never have to stop because it burns and then cools and burns again and cools. It's horrible. And there's a scene where there's I think we're meant to believe it's a Polish Jew because this is set in Poland, and there's a Polish Jewish person who sneaks out at night with she goes and collects loads of apples, and she sneaks out at night and goes down to the banks where all the workers are, digging and stuff like that, and she hides apples everywhere. So when the workers arrive, all these people that are about to die, they at least get a little treat. And it's done. He didn't want to do anything. The camera work here is phenomenal because they have fixed cameras all over the house and gardens. They didn't tell the actors what's recording, whether it's zoomed or whether it's a wide shot. So they just let them. He's got like 400 hours of footage basically, and it's just them milling around so you can get the most natural shots. And to do the night shots, they didn't want to light it so you could see or do artificial lighting. It had to look real. So what they did is they inversed it. So it's like a night vision camera.
Mm-hmm.
So when you see her wandering around, it's like a very white person in a black background. And when she's putting these apples out, the worst bit of the film is that in the background you hear a brr, brr of a train, and all you can see is the smoke billowing, and you just know that's thousands of Jewish people arriving at these camps, and it's just horrid. It's just horrid. It was one of those ones that didn't upset me to like point of tears or anything, but you spent the whole time like,
Yeah.
terrified.
You almost can't believe that's part of history. That sounds a little bit like a Ken Loach film as well. That's a little bit like The Wind That Shakes the Barley. Obviously, it's different narratives.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you ever saw The Wind That Shakes the Barley. Like Ken Loach did it. Oh, this is a great one, man. Cillian Murphy and Liam Cunningham, I think. But basically, they shot a lot of scenes where the actors didn't know what was going to happen. So they weren't given those parts of the script. So say like there's a scene where soldiers burst into the shed and they start putting people up against the wall and like hit a farmer over the head. All the actors like, whoa, like as in you get the most real reactions because, or they might even shoot someone and they put squibs on somebody that they didn't know was going to get shot. And it's a really, really powerful way to get that kind of realistic and organic reaction.
I think it's an interesting way of filming because it's that. Yeah, this has been called an artistic film, so it's probably not what people expect. And like the intro is a black screen for like 5 minutes and just like it was really weird. The film started, the lights went down, and it was a blank. It was almost to the point where we're like, if it didn't have the noises, we'd think the cinema had broken down. And then halfway through, they're in the middle of a conversation, the entire screen goes red, pure blood red, and you just hear like noises of machinery and stuff like that.
It's supposed to be unnerving, I guess, like immersive and unnerving.
For like 30 seconds, you're like, 30 seconds is a long time when you're sitting in silence, just looking at like nothing. So yeah, it really does hit you. It's quite.
It sounds like the start of a Christopher Nolan film, though, like Inception, like boom.
Yeah, it could have been anything. It was so strange. But the woman in it, this is what I knew before going in, but I hadn't seen the film to be able to comment on it. But the actors in the film were brilliant, and the woman that plays Hedvig Hoss is Sandra Huller, who's just been in the film Anatomy of a Fall. Have you heard of that one?
Yes, I have heard of that, man. I really want to see that.
Yeah, I missed it in the cinema. I was so annoyed. But it's on. I think it's on Prime Video, but it's like 15 quid or something. So, I mean, I'm not being tight, but I'll wait a month or so to watch it. And that's been picked for like Oscar nominations and stuff like that. That looks incredible. But I saw her on a TV program the other day where someone from Britain was having a pop at her, saying, because she's German, just saying, you told the public that you would never do a war film or be a Nazi or be a German in a war film because it was, not beneath you, but like it would be crass and it would be horrible. What made you take this role? I was like, that's such a leading, horrible question. Clearly, the script was good and it was an important script. Like why do you
It's
trying to get these clickbait responses. It's so annoying.
It is harsh when they like loaded questions to actors and it's like...
But she took the interview so well. She seems like such a lovely, polite, friendly person. But when you watch The Zone of Interest, you will hate her. The commander of Auschwitz is more a nicer guy.
Yeah, he's
than
more
his
empathetic,
wife.
probably. Yeah.
Yeah, he gets
Cool.
promoted. And he has to go to another camp, and she's like, "I'm not moving. I spent years in this garden. I'm not moving. Off you go.
Wow.
I'm staying here with the kids." Like and her mum comes to visit, and her mum's like, "Oh, you've done well for yourself, oh, commander. You've been married to a commander. You got a big house, big garden. Wow." And every now and again, you see the older mum when they're talking about plants. She'll just go look over her shoulder occasionally, and she'll go, "Mum, look at this." But she's getting distracted because she's hearing
Yeah.
gunshots and people screaming, and she's
Jesus.
like, and she goes, "Oh, that woman," mentions a woman's name. She goes, "Oh yes, yeah." She goes, "Oh, she used to have nice plants like this in her garden. I used to work for her, cleaning her house. Oh, she's probably over there now." Just like, what?
Wow.
And she creeps out in the middle of the night and leaves because she can't take the noises and stuff like that.
That's
But
really powerful, though. Like psychological, and like just but also
yeah,
that paradox of having a beautiful home that costs, hundreds of thousands of
well,
Deutschmark, whatever it is, and then behind them is this kind of torture
well, that's what
area.
I think. Yeah, I think the information in the film is more interesting than the film what it's brought, because there's like a scene where she's got friends over, and there's just a few women sitting around a table, and they're wearing fur coats, talking about jewelry, playing around with gold, and it's just stuff that all the Jewish people are dead, and they're bringing in boxes of stuff that they've stolen, and just they get first dibs at all the gold, and then the stuff they don't want gets given to other people, and it is, like I said, it's a paradox because she's a caring, loving mother. She makes breakfast for all the kids, makes sure they're paying attention at school, sends them off, makes sure they're doing well, and then ignores the big war camp in the background. And I think it's kind of a commentary on the world today. The war's going
With
on now.
Gaza, yeah, exactly. I was going to say that.
Yeah, you got Gaza,
it's
you got Ukraine, you got all this stuff happening, and
it's an analogy, isn't it? Yeah.
yeah. And to be frank, obviously we all care in the Western civilization as well, but what we're doing, nothing. We're tending to our gardens, our own personal things, and ignoring what's over the wall because it's nothing to do with us. And
That's so powerful.
That's the analogy of this film, because everyone's not getting involved in those. And
but see, the fact that you, sorry, I was going to say the fact that you can see those echoes of society and the state of the world the way it is now is a perfect example of how important that film is, but also how well made it is, because of the nuances of going, this is exactly what we're doing right now with these wars in our back garden. And the back garden is a metaphor for the world, literally, isn't it? Because if you think about the world, just behind us is those countries. And like you say, it's like, oh, did you get I got a new pair of trainers today. Oh, that's lovely. Boom, bombs going off. And it's like, what's all that? It's...
Yeah, I never think it will come over here, but who's to say?
Well, you just never know, man.
Well, that's so... but yeah, I think sometimes you need a bit of James in this podcast to lighten the mood a little bit, because we went a bit
that's true. Yeah, that's true.
I mean, I don't think he would have said the right things to lighten the mood, so...
That's true. It probably would have gone dark comedy, I think, if James had been there. I think he would have opened a lot of... He probably would have mentioned something like it was keeping up appearance.
You don't need to give an example. Don't give an example.
Well, that's true. Maybe I shouldn't. I'll stop myself.
Jesus Christ.
The film that you should see, it was released in 2013. It's called Rapture Palooza.
Never heard of it.
Yeah, me neither, dude. And it was on Netflix. So it's two teens battle their way through a religious apocalypse on a mission to defeat the Antichrist. But it is the most hilarious thing I've ever seen.
What?
It's got Craig Robinson. He's an amazing actor.
I need IMDb it, because I need to see if I recognize it. What's it called again?
Rapture. So like the famous Rapture where people, like, half of the world disappeared.
Rapture,
like God looked at it. Mate, it is so funny though. You've got the cockroaches arrive, but they've got like little human faces on them, and they're like, "What up, man?" And they're like, "What are these cockroaches doing?" And then you've got crows, mate, it's the funniest thing. You've got crows that tell people to go fuck themselves.
Okay.
Like these crows are shitting. At one point, this crow's like, "Fuck you," and he's like, "I hate those crows, man." And then he's like, "Just leave it, honey. It's not worth it." And then they get in the car, and the crow shits on their windscreen. He's like, "I'm gonna fucking kill that crow." She's like, "That's not worth it." It bleeds blood, so it rains blood.
Okay. Because
and
it's
then
literally Yeah, I'm just reading it now. The
it's
one
so
sentence.
funny though.
Yeah, it
It's
says,
so funny because it's almost like how we just deal with the apocalypse, just so kind of just random and mundane. And like there's comets falling from the sky, and at one point there's a guy in a petrol station. They're like, "Hey, that's Jimmy," and he's like, "Dude, you should get inside. It's raining comets." He's like, "No, man, bring it. I'm not scared of you." And like a massive comet just hits the petrol station and blows it to smithereens. And the two of them go, Jimmy's dead. And he's like, "Yeah, he kind of deserved it." And then they just go inside.
I'm definitely going to watch it. I've just seen all the people in the cast. Yeah, it just says two teens battle their way through a religious apocalypse on a mission to defeat the Antichrist with Craig Robinson and Anna Kendrick. Brilliant.
Yeah, exactly. It's really, really funny.
But there's loads of good people in this. There's loads of funny people.
Mate, Rod Corddry is really funny in it. John Michael Higgins.
Yeah, he's good.
John Michael Higgins plays the father.
I like him.
Agastaera.
Ken Jeong's in here as well.
Yeah, he's really funny.
I love him. He's brilliant.
He plays God.
The funniest, the person I thought was strange as well on looking at IMDb is John Francis Daly. Do you know him? I recognize his face. I couldn't work out.
He's the boyfriend. He's brilliant.
Yeah, he's from Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh, okay. There's a really funny.
So good in that.
There's a really funny bit where his dad is like, he's kind of working for Satan basically, and he's like, "I can get you a job there, son." He's like, "No, Dad, I don't want a job. I don't want to work for him." And he's like, "You'll be all right. I'll get you a job." And then at one point, Satan's trying it on with his girlfriend, and then he's like, "Son, there's nothing you can do. You just gotta let this shit happen." And he's like, "Dad, I'm not gonna let the Antichrist steal my girlfriend." It's so funny. It's a lot. It's just ridiculous.
Is it like Dogma in any way? That kind of vibe.
It feels like it's like they're just taking the piss out of the circumstances. How we don't take things seriously enough, like when shit happens. But obviously, it is a comedy, so they've added like. Some of the stuff that Craig Robinson comes up with is hilarious, and I swear to God, it seems like it's an ad lib because he was in a thing with Will Ferrell. Oh my God, it's like to do with Rounders or something. Hang on.
Yeah, he's quick at improv anyway, so yeah
he's so funny.
He did that. This Is the End and Hot Tub Time Machine. Obviously, The Office.
Yeah, I'm just trying to find his. It's like Something and Down. It was called
Brooklyn Nine-Nine as well. Yeah, he's done loads. He's in loads of stuff.
It was something he was in with Will Ferrell, and they improvised, and it's so funny. That's it. Eastbound and Down. And I'm going to send you a link to it. That's when he goes, "I can feel it in my plums."
I don't know that. Have I missed some of that?
Mate, I've got to send you it. It's so funny. So they got Will Ferrell on set, and he plays this really kind of slimy, kind of like salesperson, and he comes in and most of his lines are just ad-libbed. There's a bit where he's saying, sometimes you got to learn life is hard, you had to learn like I had to. And he says, I remember the first time my mom and dad ever made love. And he's like, "What?" And he's like, "Yep." He's like, "They closed all the windows, they put the heating up," and he's like, he could hear my father saying, "Let the boy watch." And it's like, it's so ridiculous.
Oh,
it's so funny.
I know the film now. Now you said that. Yeah.
Well, he's Eastbound and Down. He said, "I can feel it in my plums." He says, "I take my plums to the market 2 for 1, 2 for 1 on the plums." It's really funny. Yeah, man, it's so funny.
We've definitely lightened the mood from that first chat, so that's good.
Oh, dude, absolute, man, absolute. And then, strangely enough, I found myself watching a lot of chick flicks, which I've never done before.
What does
But
that mean?
I missed the boat when it came to. Have you ever seen The Devil Wears Prada?
Yeah, mate, it's awesome.
Mate, that's absolutely phenomenal film. Like it was on yesterday. Well, it came up on Netflix, and that's what I quite like, that Netflix are bringing out classics,
Older
not
ones,
just
yeah.
stuff that's brand new, but stuff that was brilliant, and maybe it's only just been released now for us.
Mate, yeah, Devil's Wears Prada is like beyond the classic. It's like one of the biggest sort of. It's not even a rom-com, is it? It's just an amazing film. It's just really good.
Mate,
It's one of those ones. When did it come out? Because yeah, I know what you mean. The time when it came out, it wasn't cool as a man to say you liked it. Now it is.
Exactly. But now the
I
way the
reckon
world is, I'm like, I'm
early
proud, man.
2000s,
But
2006.
it's a phenomenal film. Like, the dialogue is brilliant, the performances are brilliant. It's obviously got that kind of Hollywood trope of the, like the ugly duckling sort of thing becomes the
With Emily Blunt.
like a down and out becomes the as she transitions into the blossoming
it just becomes
flamingo.
more confident. I mean, it's Anne Hathaway's and Emily Blunt's biggest break.
Absolutely, man. And Meryl Streep. Oh my God, Meryl Streep and Stanley Tucci. Is that right? Tucci, yeah. He's brilliant in it, man. But the dialogue, mate, the characters, like the editing, Jesus Christ, mate. If you go back and look at the editing, I was saying to Sarah, I was like, look at the editing. Like, it is so slick. Just
it's quick, isn't it?
I think it went.
Go on.
I think it went up for loads of Oscars, man. I think it won loads of Oscars, if I recall.
I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised. But it's one of those ones where I watched something fairly recently, I'd say in the last 2 weeks, and they were talking to Meryl Streep about it. And even though she was a huge star, this elevated her even more. This is such a successful film. But she was saying that because at the time she was like global megastar Meryl Streep. I mean, she still is, but then,
yeah. She's OG, man, isn't she? She's OG. She's amazing.
Yeah, 2006, everyone was scared of her because like she's the big boss woman, and Anne Hathaway and Emily Blunt were new. Well, they've been in the industry, but they've not had any major commercial successes at that stage, not big ones.
Yeah.
And they were having so much fun. And Meryl Streep said that when she was filming it, she could hear them having fun and she could peer through and see them having fun. And she's, you've seen her in interviews, Meryl Streep seems like the most fun person ever. Like, she's up for a joke, doesn't mind taking a piss out of herself. And she was like, she wants to go and join them, but she's got to play this hard ass, horrible woman. So she deliberately stayed away from them so that when they started rolling and she barrels out of a door angry, they shit themselves.
They really do shit themselves.
It's not just Miranda Priestley, it's Meryl Streep. And they're just like, shit, Meryl Streep's pissed off with us. Acts, it worked.
Oh my God, I loved it, man. I thought it was such a well pieced together film, and it's just, man, it's just really, really enjoyable. I guess what I'm trying to say is sometimes that word chick flick gets bad press. I think that's what makes men cringe out a bit.
Well, it sounds derogatory because, that's the word that was used 20 years ago. It's not really used these days, but like you said, that's exactly what it was back then.
Yeah,
it's 18 years old, man.
Yeah, man. It feels like stigmatizing in a way, saying chick flick, because like I loved Bridesmaids, and I think that's a masterpiece of a film. But I think it felt like it was pitched wrong in the sense that if they wanted to get a bigger audience, it could have just been called The Crazy Ass Wedding or something. Like, rather than calling it Bridesmaids, makes it feel like it's just for women. Do you know what I mean? Well, but I get that obviously it is about women. That's a woman's moment in being married, that you want to get all your bridesmaids together. So I absolutely get it. And it was like a female The Hangover. So they needed their version of that. And I get it. I just felt like it could have got.
But I think with that film, I knew what it was, but I guess you need to know certain actors. And I guess back then they weren't as big. Because what year was that? That was, Christ, what year was? Right, 2011. Okay, it's not as far back as I thought it was.
Wow, that's great. That still feels quite far back.
But Kristen Wiig
Yeah,
She was
man.
pretty big at that time, or at least I knew her from like Saturday Night Live and other stuff
Yeah,
like that. So when she was in it, I was like, yes, this is going to be good. Maya Rudolph's amazing as well, and Rose Byrne. And
yeah,
Rose Byrne, it was annoying actually because in the film, Rose Byrne plays the Helen, the not annoying one, but it's her wedding, isn't it? She's like a bit rude and
yeah,
a bit hoity-toity,
yeah. She
and
plays a bit of a harsh character.
but she's amazing. She's a comedy actor herself, but she's not
Oh
funny
yeah,
in that film because she's the straight person, isn't she?
yeah. But mate, Maya
But
Rudolph is hilarious
oh yeah, she's great in everything.
when
But
she runs across the road and shits herself in the middle of the street, and she goes, and she waddles like a swan that's been hit by a car. She just kind of waddles into the middle of the
yeah,
road and just sits and goes, "Not now, please, not like this." And it kind of reminds me of the Matrix, where she says, "Not like this," and like she just shits herself in her favorite like wedding.
uh, she. If you've not, do you have Apple
No,
TV?
we. I think I can get it through my laptop because I've got iTunes and stuff, so I've got access to it.
No, you need to subscribe to it. It's like Disney and stuff.
Oh no, okay, no,
It's
I've got
worth
Now
getting.
TV.
Apple has some of the best programs on TV, full stop, and the highest production value. Like when you watch any series on Apple, it is super high def.
Oh yeah,
It's the best. It's better looking than all the Disney or the Netflix. It just looks the best. But
but
Rose Byrne's in this program, Platonic with Seth Rogen,
that looks cool.
and it's brilliant. These two like when they were younger used to hang out and do stupid shit together, and then they
Yeah,
grew up, had a family, all sorts of things. He didn't. He went to be like run a beer, like a
stand.
craft beer pub place. They don't really have pubs in America, but not properly. But they have a craft
Oh,
beer place,
yeah,
and she just remembers that she hasn't seen him in ages, or she heard on Facebook that he's split with his partner, and she wants to reach out and say, "Oh, we used to be so close, and how you doing?" And her husband convinces her to just drop him a message, and she does, and then they meet again. Like 20 years later, they were 20, now they're in their 40s,
yeah,
and she's like the not uptight, but she's playing the straight character again, where she's like looking after the kids and got to be home in time and da 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 da, and he's still like a kid almost because he works in a pub and he's chilled and
yeah,
then he convinces her to do something and she just goes along with it, and then that's it. That's the beginning of Platonic. She cracks and she goes, "Fuck being a mum," or just a mum. I mean, I'm gonna
yeah,
be mental and do stupid shit, and that's it.
yeah.
The whole it's just them
That's a
two being
catalyst.
dicks for like 6 episodes. It's so funny.
Oh mate, I gotta check that out, man. I gotta check
It's
that out. I
amazing.
love miniseries though. I think miniseries is the way it's going now. Like rather than getting bogged down with like season upon season upon season with like 10 or 23 episodes or something, miniseries I think is the way it's going now because of people's time,
I think
like
that's
how
a
much
good
time
idea.
you can dedicate to something. Like, do you remember Chernobyl? Just for example, like that was a mini series,
Yeah, that was
and
good.
then off the back of there, I think you had like The Last of Us, which was like again kind of like a mini series in the way they did it. Um, and the latest True Detective is like a mini series. Well, actually, all of them felt quite mini series to be honest.
Well, let's mention the one that we've both seen then, Fargo.
Oh
How
yes,
good
that's a
is
great one.
Fargo?
Link to that. Feck me, dude. That was so impressive, and to see Juno Temple like that
Oh, I love
in
her.
that
I
role,
think she's amazing in everything. She's incredible. Um,
mate.
have
What an
you
actor, man! Like,
you don't have Apple? You've not seen her in Ted, I'm guessing.
no,
That's
no,
Ted
wait, is Ted
Lasso.
the? Oh yeah, no, I've heard amazing things about Ted Lasso. Yeah,
And she's quite perky and chirpy, what you'd think from a little tiny petite blonde,
yeah,
but she's like a boss woman as well. But what was
yeah.
the other thing that she was in that was really, really good?
Well, she was in the thing with McConaughey. Do you remember Midnight or something Cowboy? What was it?
Oh, no, I was thinking this one, Little Birds.
No, I haven't seen it, mate. I
That's a series on.
absolutely adore this actor. I think she is phenomenal. I'd watch her in anything.
Yeah, but in Fargo, she is badass.
Mate, and to get that accent, that is so. I know. Like to get that
That was quite
strange
good.
kind of. Just, um,
Hey, no, I was just going to go to the grocery store. Nope, I can't
Yeah,
do it.
that's it. That's it. No, that is it, man.
I
That's
thought
great.
Martin Freeman was in the first series. Martin Freeman nailed that accent. When we watched that for the
Yeah.
first time, that's the first Martin Freeman where we'd seen him not be Martin Freeman. He is a good
Yeah.
character. He's a good actor, and he's not got. I'm not saying he can't transform, but he had done a few things
Yeah.
recently where he was just like, "Oh, I'm just a grumpy middle-aged guy. Oh, here's another story where I'm a grumpy." Does them brilliantly, but when
Yeah.
he did Fargo and he's like the subdued, polite man, I just thought, wow,
Yeah.
that blew me away.
Killer Joe. That was it. Killer Joe. She's in.
Oh,
With
I've not
that's the
seen
one
that
with
one.
Matthew McConaughey and what's his name? Something Hirsch.
Emil Hirsch.
Emil Hirsch. Yeah.
Oh, I
Matthew McConaughey.
love him
Emil
as
Hirsch.
well.
Juno Temple. Thomas Hayden Church. Gina Gershen. Like
Gershon.
yeah, that Gershen. That's Killer Joe's amazing.
You said Gershon, I said Gershon, and you went, yeah, Gershon.
Gershon. Gershon.
Gershon. Emil Hirsch is amazing as well. What's the film he was in? Oh God, this is
In the
going
Wild.
through Into the
Is
Wild.
that the one? With Sean Penn, where he's on the almost documentary kind of style about yeah. He goes traveling, doesn't he? I haven't seen that.
When you said Sean Penn, I was like, what are you on about? But he directed it. Yeah.
Yeah, he directed Into the Wild. Yeah, I haven't seen that though, man. I've heard it's amazing.
It's phenomenal. I bought the book afterwards because I had to read the book. But it's so good. Like he just gets true story. He literally. And the best thing about it is do you know Pearl Jam?
Yeah, the band. Yeah.
So Eddie Vedder, he's the lead singer. He does loads of solo stuff as well, and he did the soundtrack for Into the Wild, and it is beautiful. It's one of these. It's a soundtrack I can listen to at any time. It's just amazing. It's just beautiful, plinky plonky guitar, and with his voice, it just all sounds devastating. But Into the Wild is amazing because he just gets pissed off with his parents, pissed off society, and the fact he has to go to college and university and jump all through these hoops. He just gives up, and he goes. One point, he just chucks everything away and goes walking, Forrest Gump style, and disappears off into the wilderness. Game over. That's it. He just takes a few supplies. He's got his gun, and he shoots deer and rabbit, and he just lives off the land. And he's like, I think it's Alaska or somewhere. I could be wrong, but it goes when it goes cold. It goes cold. It's like it's ice. It's snowy everywhere, and obviously. Spoiler alert, not really, because it's a true story. But he dies. He wastes away in the wilderness. It's horrible, and they've got the real footage of him as well, and they've got real photos of him there as well. It's
crazy.
But he goes on a wild adventure. You know, it's not just him going into the wilderness sitting around shooting rabbits. He meets
he's
Kirsten
going on
Stewart.
a journey.
He does all his mad stuff.
Oh wow,
it's good.
I really need to check it out. But let's jump back to Fargo, because I mean that season, like I think every one of the seasons they kind of up the ante. I thought this one was so well done. Like some of the scenes, like the Nightmare Before Christmas when they all break into her house.
Oh yeah, with the masks. Nightmare Before Christmas masks. That was cool. That was good punch. But the guy wearing the kilt, the murderer guy. Wow.
Yeah.
He was
mate. But what about the crazy ass twist though that he's like 5 years old because he'd made some kind of deal with those churchgoers, and he said, "I'll take the sin," and then the demon kind of entered him, and he's 500 years old or something.
Yeah. That was the only thing that annoyed me a little bit. Why have we got supernatural in Fargo? That was a bit.
Yeah.
We didn't need that. We just needed a badass guy who was badass. We didn't need him to be 500 years old.
True.
That's
true.
The only bit that I was pissed off about.
Yeah.
Everything else was great. And
I just thought it was fascinating.
Jennifer Jason Leigh as the
husband's
mum. Love her. She's vicious.
Never been better, man.
And I love how she came round at the end where like she didn't really care for
Juno's character.
Yeah, Juno Temple's character. And by the end she was like, mad respect.
Yeah, man. Well, that journey that she's gone on, I mean, she's like a cat. She has like 9 lives in that series.
Yeah,
All the stuff she goes through.
what was it the guy
But I mean,
calls her? Is the lioness, don't trap the
the
lioness.
lioness, yeah.
And
Yeah,
then when she doesn't go and kill everyone, he's like, he appears in the home, he's like, why didn't you kill everyone? I let you out. I let you out to be a lion, and you didn't become a lion. And she went, I think I did all the lioning I needed to do.
yeah.
And then she bakes cookies with him.
Yeah, that was deep, that bit. That was so powerful, though.
She goes,
When she says sometimes you need love and something that feels good in your mouth rather than I think he talked about the taste of sin or something, and she said you need the taste of love and a good hot cookie. And I liked that kind of parallel, but also
that was so tense because she's sitting there with her son as well. It's like he could just kill
daughter,
all of them.
It's crazy.
But I did
the arcs I thought were brilliant. Who? Everyone's arcs were brilliant for the characters. So like John Hamm's son, played by the guy from Stranger Things, who's brilliant in it, as the kind of the damaged son who becomes a cop, and he's very power hungry, and then he ends up getting his second. I mean, spoiler alert, obviously. I think he ends up losing his hearing, and he gets his eyes like potentially
gouged out, doesn't he?
Yeah, and then he has to that bit where he's walking through the battlefield literally blindfolded as all these bullets are going off because like the two different teams come together. That felt quite Trump-esque as well. That John Hamm's character was a bit of this kind of like rebel, almost wanted to be a president of that.
And in his ground.
Yeah, and then he brought in all
defend him so he could sneak away like a coward.
All his cronies came up and that had loads of kind of
but I thought that was good, especially when his dad was horrible to him and that was the last straw. So he just led him into the cops. But what about that guy's Joe Keery from Stranger Things?
Yeah,
he's
brilliant.
If you haven't seen him in other stuff, you might think this is a bit of a wild turn of him being quite nasty or quite aggressive, but he's done a couple of bizarre things. Have you seen a film called Spree?
That rings a bell, but I don't think I've. No, that's crazy.
At that for a front cover. I'm showing Drew a photo, and it's just him covered in blood.
With a cracked screen or something.
It's basically he's into social media, and he wants followers, and he wants likes. And this is quite recent. It was like 2020 this came out. And so he's a rideshare driver, like not an Uber, but he picks up random people. And he has a camera so that he goes live to get followers and stuff. And you sit in his cab and it's all live so people can watch him all day chatting to new customers. Yeah. But I think something bad happens and someone gets hurt. I can't remember exactly.
Clearly. It's covered in blood.
And so he gets loads of likes and he goes, ooh. So the next time he's going low on likes and he wants more, he like crashes the car or tries to hurt someone or pretends to threaten them, and then it goes further and further and further to the point where he is basically a maniac. But Spree,
that just shows the lengths people go to for the land of followers and likes, and it's quite a scary place.
I'd like to think it's far-fetched, but I'm not sure it is for some people.
I think it feels very much like what TikTok is now, to be honest. I was going to say, make the puppet bit in one of the episodes. You know when she makes the puppet?
Oh, yeah, in Fargo. Yeah.
She makes the puppet of herself in that, like, I don't know what it's called. It's like a place for women that have been through some stuff.
It's like a refuge where they talk about how they were hurt by their husbands or partners and things like that, and how to heal
domestic violence.
Yeah,
and like
a sanctuary.
A woman's circle of trust and how they go through it. And she says, you can't leave here till you make your puppet. And then there's that beautiful bit of storytelling with the whole thing. And you see John Hamm's character as a puppet. Like you see all of the abuse and flashbacks as puppetry. It's so beautiful.
Everything's implied at that stage, isn't it? Until you see that. Yeah. You don't have to see the violence. That puppet felt more brutal than seeing it.
Or especially when like he hits them, or it reminded. Well, it's obviously the Punch and Judy thing, but there's a brutality to it when he's like slapping her about. And even though it's a puppet, you still get the oof. That shouldn't be happening to a woman in any home.
Yeah.
And then But then again, like obviously, guys, there's a lot of spoilers in this. The thing I loved about it was when she wakes up and realizes that she hasn't been there. She didn't go to the place. She fell asleep in front of the meal at the donuts. When she comes back and goes, "You haven't eaten your donuts," and you're like, that was all just in her imagination.
Yeah, because at the end she's like, she tried to get away with it by saying, "I've met your mother," and you're like, "What?"
Yeah.
And she's like, "No, I lied."
I think she had, but yeah. But then when she drives out and that massive truck comes out of nowhere, and that's what I loved about Fargo. Random occurrences would just happen that take out characters or put them in a different line of trouble.
It's probably one of the best formulated programs that I've seen because, like you said, everyone's got their own arc. It's not just here's a main character and some people come in and some shit happens. It's everyone that comes in has got their own story.
Yeah,
and you don't spend like an entire episode with just one character. Like some programs go a bit OTT and go, here's one episode with that one character, here's one episode with that character, and then they blend it later on. Whereas this was about the main characters, but when it deviated to Joe Keery's character, we did see him in snippets, and then we would get a whole 10 minutes with him, which was long enough to explain a whole backstory, and then that was enough, but it kept it flowing. Like everyone, there was like 20 main characters, and they're all interesting.
Yeah. It's incredible, man, and it's just good writing as well. But it was like that bit, like you're saying, when we're with his character, and he's got the rifle, or he bought the rifle from someone, and he's just trying to make his dad proud. So now he's like, I'm going to kill that weird kind of demon character. They don't know it's a demon, because it all goes wrong, and basically
shoots that old woman.
Yeah, man. But then it's eerie because you see he's rocking. So no, he doesn't shoot the old woman. He shoots the son that's already been killed. So the demon guy kills the son, who's a real asshole to his mum. If you remember correctly. Then he puts him on the rocking chair, who's already dead, and he's behind it with the string, rocking the chair. He's behind the wall.
He expects him to be coming, doesn't he?
Yeah, man. It's so clever how he's just always 10 steps ahead of everyone. Yeah. Then he gets shot in the head and he thinks, oh, it's all done. Then the old woman comes out and tries to have a go at him, and then he pushes her, and it's all a bit accidental, but it all goes horribly wrong, man.
Yeah.
But it reminded me.
It was a spoiler heavy chat for that as well.
Yeah, that's true. Sorry, guys. Yeah,
but no, that's fine. We can't not have spoilers. Like if I've seen it in the cinema this week, no spoilers. If it's a TV series that finished 2 months ago, let's chat. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. That should be the rule.
And I guess we'll just throw those in, and these are the bits that are involved in this episode.
But definitely one of the best. And you've started True Detective, haven't you?
Oh, mate, I'm absolutely loving it, man. There's now a 2 week.
I don't want to know anything. I've not started.
I won't tell you anything, mate. But all I'm going to tell you is there's a 2 week break of a hiatus before the final episode.
Are you kidding me?
No. So it's brutal.
What? And is that happening now?
Yeah, it's happening now.
So the next episode is in literally 2 weeks' time?
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm like, you absolute bastard.
In 2 weeks' time, I'm going to blast all of it in one weekend.
Yeah, mate. And let's definitely talk. I think we should definitely do an episode all about it. Because one, it's obviously going to be a series that's trending. But it's like, oh, mate, it's mind-blowing. And I love the fact, again, that it's two female protagonists. And again, there's a lot of different characters. It's very well written. So atmospheric. I think it's absolutely brilliant, man. It keeps me on the edge of my seat, bro. It's really good.
I expect the music from True Detective. True Detective. Yeah, I mean, fairly consistent.
Yeah, I don't know how many of them you've personally seen. I mean, obviously one was like the absolute, that was the OG without a doubt, because you got two of Hollywood's
and Woody Harrelson.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I loved what Matthew McConaughey said in an interview. He said, he said that there was a stigma attached to doing a TV series. But he's like, that's all bullshit. He's like, if the script's good, I'm going where the work is, and it's like, I thought it was so cool that he said that he's like, even though it doesn't matter if you're a Hollywood actor, at the end of the day, you're an actor. If you remove Hollywood, you just go where the work is. And he said when he read the script, he was like Nick Pazialto wanted him to read for Martin Hart. But he's like, is this Russ character? He's the guy I'm always excited about. I want to know what he's doing. And it's like, it's so, oh man.
I just had to check, because you're right on that comment. It's a very good one to bring up, because I remember him saying that, and I remember that conversation at the time, because that is when things changed. I think that's probably as well when all these big shows like Game of Thrones and stuff. So it's 2014 is when the first True Detective came out, and it was TV was second best. But I think it was around then when the TV shows started being big budget, big actors,
Big movies.
and like 5 or 10 episodes rather than a million episodes, and they became bigger. And now they're they're huge earners now.
Well, it's like when he was being interviewed, and I loved it. The interviewer said, "With 8 hours, you can learn so much from a character." And he went, "Yeah." He said it's an in-depth deep dive into a character. He says, "Think when you watch a film, it's 2 hours and something, unless it's like Oppenheimer or The Killers of the Flower Moon, which is obviously like 3.5. But it's like it's very rare that you get so much time with a particular character. So to have 8 hours,
as long as it's good and interesting.
Oh yeah, man.
Otherwise, it's hell.
There's loads of similarity videos and like I think probably like podcasts and stuff talking about the similarities between Seven and the first True Detective. They said it's very, very clever how like the relationship between
as well.
The relationship between the detectives, the fact that the serial killer in a way is luring them because he's setting all these kind of like traps of they're following all the pieces that are leading them closer and closer to Carcosa and all this kind of stuff. And it's just but I love the poetry of it. It's like the philosophical and psychological coming together with a lot of the dialogue, especially Ross Cole's dialogue. And when people say it now, people are using some of those quotes from the actual TV series as things to live by. They're like time being a flat circle, or saying that death. What was it? Oh, was it time gave? Oh no, death created time so it could kill the things it loves. And I was like, oh my God, like that's mind blowing. That's mind blowing for an analogy.
Cool quote, yeah.
Yeah.
Who says that? Like, that's got to be McConaughey who says that.
Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah, that sounds like something he would say, not even his character.
Yeah, you can just see it when he's opening the beer cans and making the little men.
Yeah. But that's it.
But I didn't realize you've seen all of them, man.
Yeah, I've seen all of them. Just not watched the new one yet because I want to binge it in one go. But yeah, that's the thing. People complain about these 3.5 hour films, but they'll sit in front of Netflix for 5 hours.
It's scrolling, not even picking a film.
Yeah,
Sarah and I sometimes spend hours trying to find a film.
And 5 hours won't even finish a series, so they've got to do 5 hours the next day as well. But they will complain about a 3 hour film. If
the only thing
in a 3 hour film is more concise, it's going to have more stuff going on, so it's going to be more engaging than a long series as well. Like Killers of Flower Moon, that was gripping. I did not.
Mate, I can't wait to do that.
I did when I get off the cinema seat. I did have a numb bum. It was like a bit achy on my legs and stuff, but I was not bored 1 second in that film.
Mate, I can't wait. I think I'm going to treat myself to that. I feel like it's probably
free. It's free on Apple TV. If you just subscribe to Apple TV, it's just there to watch for free. You don't have to pay extra for it.
Maybe I'll subscribe to Apple TV for a bit,
mate. It's free for the first couple of months or something when you subscribe, so you can go on it. Watch a film, couple of series, and then come off, and then log back on another time. It's quite good. You can pop on and off.
Honey hot.
Yeah.
The thing is, the only thing I find about when there's a great TV series is you watch it all, then you watch something else, and you can instantly tell how crap other things are.
Yeah.
It's like, and then you miss the good stuff because it's like, oh, when is there going to be another?
Well,
it's like when Game of Thrones ended, and then there was other things that tried to be like it, and you're like, this is nowhere near as good. Or you watch a different detective show, and you're like, this isn't like True Detective, and it's like you just miss the good dialogue, the characters, the way it's shot, the atmosphere. It's like they nail it, man.
Well, that's the thing. There's so much content out there and so much programs that you don't have time for everything. That's what's annoying. You can have a chat with like yourself, and you'll be like talking about loads of programs that I'd love. I just don't have time for them all. And I'll tell you about my stuff, and you might watch 1 or 2 of them, but you're not going to watch every. You just can't. But me and Sadie's my partner Sadie. She's quite brutal. Like 5 to 10 minutes in a program, she will just go, nope.
But I
Turn it
respect
off.
that, man. Life's too short, mate. Life is too short. It's like if they haven't done the work in the first 10 minutes, they don't deserve your attention in a way.
Well, that's
unless
if
it's a
you
slow
spend
burn.
10 hours of the program that can't grab me in the first. I'd give it half an hour personally, at least.
Yeah.
I stick with things, to be honest. I like it when Sadie's there and she goes, no. If it really engaged me, I'll watch it on my own, but rarely I do.
Yeah.
So she
Yeah.
clearly has a point. So yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's quite interesting.
Yeah. What was I going to say? Sorry. So you've seen season 2. What did you think of season 2 of True Detective?
I mean, they're all about 10 years ago. So I just remember enjoying them. So it was quite a long time ago.
Yeah.
Season 2 was really good. And this is season 4 now, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure season 3 was a little bit weaker.
It's a different,
not bad
team.
It just wasn't as good, but it was still good.
It's a different team though for season 4, which I think is fascinating. So here's something interesting. So 1, 2, and 3 have the same trope of the detectives and the time jump. So you know that they're in interviews and they're talking about various moments in time.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen in season 4, which is a breath of fresh air. It's all happening in real time, pretty much.
Right. Okay. Well, that's good. I mean, I can't remember.
Which is cool. That's not me giving away anything.
Yeah.
That's just like, if you remember the main premise, because obviously you've got Martin Hart's character at the very beginning. He's being interviewed. Do you remember? It keeps jumping back to an.
All I remember is the enjoyment. I can't remember much of the specifics.
Oh wow!
My
okay.
brain doesn't.
It's mad. My brain soaks up everything, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, you can quote everything and stuff. I have to refresh my brain and look at something. And go, oh yeah, that guy. Oh yeah, he said that. Yeah. I know you've got quotes at the top of your head, don't you?
Thank God for IMDb.
I wish I.
But yeah, it would be.
The only things I can remember are anything from Goodfellas, anything from Ace Ventura, anything from Dumb and Dumber. You asked me about those films, I could quote them all day. I could probably recite the entire
Ace
film.
Ventura is fucking brilliant. It's so funny.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
But yeah, we're probably close to the end of the episode because we've talked about quite a bit. There's definitely more stuff I want to chat about, but we can probably save that for another episode. Unless you've got anything more to say on that subject.
No, I was going to say maybe we should do an episode if James catches up on all of the seasons of True Detective and do a rating the different seasons, or maybe we can do a whole thing where we go back and revisit them all. Like that would be quite interesting.
Well, at least all of us try and watch that one series, the new series.
Yeah,
and see. Like you'll give it a 5, I'll give it a 5. James will give it a 1. I think he's got quite different opinions.
But that's what makes it beautiful, man. We've all got our own little, a bit like Captain Planet. We've all got our own little ring of something, our own little critic ring.
Well, that's
and his is interesting.
We're going to watch different things as well because he's got a little boy, Reef, who's very cool. So he's going to be watching Turtles and Spider-Verse and all these sort of things more than that murder program.
I mean, I did enjoy the Spider-Verse films though as well. So to be fair,
yeah. I mean, I was going to bring up a couple of things, but I'll tease it now, and then we can chat about it in the next episode. I watched
nice.
Ambulance with Jake Gyllenhaal on Netflix, which is surprising, to be honest. And the other thing I watched recently, literally finished it just before we started this podcast, was Ted, as in the Mark Wahlberg film, but they've now done a TV series, and it's based in 1993, where Mark Wahlberg is I think he's about 16 years old, a kid. So it's a kid playing the role with Ted. And
what? They got a lookalike kind of thing?
No, just a kid. Just a kid. But he's very good, and I won't discuss it now. But tune in next time, and we'll chat about possibly the most offensive TV program on at the moment, Ted.
Sold.
All right. I'm just going to press a button, and we'll log off. Thanks for listening, guys.